Have you ever wondered why some relationships leave you completely drained, even though that person never yelled at you or did anything obviously wrong? Have you ever felt yourself slowly losing confidence, trust, or even your own sense of identity, all because of someone you once believed was good for you? And have you ever blamed yourself for not seeing the warning signs sooner? If you answered yes to any of those questions, chances are a toxic person has walked into your life or is still in it. And the most important thing you can do to protect your peace and preserve your inner strength is to learn how to recognize them before they destroy your spirit. A toxic person doesn't always appear as an obvious villain. Sometimes they're a family member, a longtime friend, or even someone you love deeply. They often show up disguised as caring, attentive, or even generous. But beneath that surface lies a draining energy that slowly erodes your confidence and emotional stability without you noticing. The problem is that most of us don't realize it's happening because toxicity rarely arrives like a storm. It seeps in like a slow poison. They plant small seeds of doubt in your mind, making you question your own worth. They make you feel like you're too sensitive, that you're the problem, or that you're not good enough. And once you start believing those lies, they gain complete control over your emotional world. The painful truth is, toxic people don't need to raise their voices to control you. They manipulate you with silence, they dominate you with coldness, and they trap you with guilt. They can make you believe that staying in the relationship is your duty, your obligation, the right thing to do, even when, deep inside, you no longer feel safe or happy. Psychologists call this manipulation gaslighting, one of the most insidious forms of emotional control. When you're gaslighted, you start doubting your own feelings and memories. You might recall that they hurt you, but when confronted, they convince you that it never happened or that you're overreacting. And the worst part? You start believing them. You start thinking that you are the problem. And the moment that belief takes root, they gain total power over your mind. Have you ever felt that? Knowing you're being treated unfairly, yet lacking the strength to walk away? If so, I invite you to share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else recognize that they too deserve a healthier, more respectful connection. What makes toxic people so dangerous isn't that they're stronger than you. It's that they make you forget your own strength. They distort your perception until you believe you can't live without them, that you need them to feel loved, that your worth depends on their approval. But here's the truth. No one has the right to define your value except you. If this is your first time here, welcome. This channel is a space where we explore the psychology of relationships, learn how to heal from emotional wounds, and rebuild peace from the inside out. If that's a journey you're ready for, make sure to subscribe so you won't miss the next chapters of this series. Each video will guide you closer to a stronger, freer version of yourself. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the clear signs and subtle behaviors that reveal someone's toxic nature, from how they communicate, to how they react, to how they make you feel about yourself. Once you know these signs, you'll never again allow your soul to be drained by someone who doesn't deserve a place in your life. Thank you for listening to this first part of our journey. I hope these words reach the deepest corners of your heart and remind you that you deserve love, respect, and relationships that help you grow. May you always find the courage to walk away from toxicity and the strength to return home to your own light. Recognizing a toxic person is rarely about spotting obvious cruelty. In fact, the most dangerous people are often the ones who never yell, never break things, and never openly insult you. They don't storm into your life like villains. Instead, they slip quietly into your emotional world and begin to shape it from within. Their harm is subtle and gradual, And by the time you realize that something is wrong, they may already have woven themselves deeply into the fabric of your thoughts and feelings. One of the first and most telling signs is how they make you doubt yourself. They don't attack you head-on. Instead, they plant little seeds of insecurity, gently at first, but persistently, until they take root. They question your decisions, saying things like, "Are you sure that's the right choice?" They undermine your achievements with offhand remarks such as, "It's not that big of a deal, anyone could have done it." They even distort your memories, insisting, "That's not how it happened, you're remembering it wrong." None of these moments on their own feel significant, but together they create a powerful erosion of confidence. Over time, you begin to question your own memory, your judgment, even your worth. And that's exactly where they want you. Unsure of yourself and increasingly dependent on them for validation. Another sign reveals itself when you try to set boundaries. Healthy people understand and respect limits. They might feel disappointed, but they won't punish you for protecting your peace. Toxic people, however, will twist your boundaries into evidence that you are selfish or uncaring. They'll say things like, "I thought you cared about me," or "If you really loved me, you'd do it." These are not expressions of love. They are deliberate manipulations designed to break down your defenses so they can tighten their control. Before you know it, you find yourself saying yes to things that drain you, all because saying no makes you feel like a terrible person. Then there's the way they consume your energy without ever giving anything back. Relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, are meant to be reciprocal. There will always be moments when one person gives more than the other, but there should be balance over time. With a toxic person, that balance never comes. You offer patience, support, and understanding, and in return, you receive criticism, drama, or silence. Every interaction leaves you exhausted, anxious, or guilty. And yet, for reasons you can't quite explain, you keep going back. That is not love or loyalty. That is emotional dependency, carefully engineered by their manipulation. You'll also notice that somehow everything always ends up being about them. Your feelings, needs, and struggles are consistently overshadowed by theirs. If you're upset, they're more upset. If you're sick, they're sicker. Even when you succeed, they make sure to remind you how much they helped you get there. This self-centered behavior isn't just selfish. It's strategic. It keeps the focus away from your needs and ensures that the emotional energy in the relationship always flows toward them. But not all toxicity is loud or obvious. Some of the most manipulative people weaponize kindness itself. They do favors, offer help, or shower you with affection, but their generosity is never free. Later, they'll remind you of everything they've done, using it as leverage to control your behavior. True kindness is unconditional. Toxic kindness is a transaction, a subtle trap designed to keep you indebted and obedient. Perhaps the most dangerous form of manipulation, though, is the way they twist your emotions into tools of control. They know which buttons to press and when. They might cry to make you feel guilty. They might explode in anger to make you afraid. They might withdraw affection to make you chase their approval. None of this is random. These reactions are carefully crafted strategies to shape your behavior and keep you exactly where they want you. And while some toxic individuals do this intentionally, others repeat these patterns unconsciously, learned from their own unresolved wounds. But understanding the source of their behavior does not mean you have to tolerate it. If any of this sounds familiar, it's time to pause and reflect. Ask yourself honestly, how do you feel after spending time with this person? Do you feel supported, valued, and uplifted, or small, anxious, and unsure of yourself? That single question can often reveal more truth than any psychological theory. The presence of one or two of these behaviors doesn't always mean someone is irredeemably toxic. But if they happen consistently, if they persist despite your attempts to communicate, and if the relationship continues to drain your mental peace, then you need to listen to what your soul is trying to tell you. Because here's the truth. People who truly love you will never make you feel like you are hard to love. They will never punish you for having boundaries. They will never try to shrink your joy or shape your identity just to fit their comfort. Real love nourishes. Real connection builds you up. It helps you become more of who you are, not less. In the next part of this journey, we will explore a question that haunts many of us. If we can clearly see that someone is toxic, why do we still stay? The psychology behind emotional attachment is complex, and understanding it will help you finally break free from the patterns that keep you stuck. Once you understand the why, you'll have the power to choose a different path, one that leads back to peace, self-respect, and freedom. Thank you for walking this far with me. If this message speaks to your heart, consider subscribing, not just to support the channel, but as a promise to yourself that you are choosing awareness, healing, and growth. And always remember, you deserve relationships that nurture your soul, not ones that drain the light from it. One of the hardest questions many people ask themselves, often late at night, when the world grows quiet and the heart starts speaking, is this: if I know this person is toxic, why can't I leave? It's a question that has haunted countless souls. The pain is obvious, the damage undeniable, yet something invisible keeps us tied to a relationship that is hurting us. The answer is not weakness. It is not stupidity. It is far more complex and deeply human than that. The first reason we stay is hope. That quiet, stubborn hope that things will change. We cling to the memory of how it used to be, the sweetness of their words, the warmth of their attention, the way they once made us feel safe and cherished. Those moments, even if rare and fleeting, become addictive. The brain, especially when it's attached to someone, tends to exaggerate the positive and minimize the negative. It convinces us that if we just try harder, love more, or wait longer, we'll bring back the version of them that once made us feel alive. Hope, in this way, becomes both a lifeline and a trap. We also stay because of fear. The fear of being alone. Humans are social creatures. We crave connection and belonging. Sometimes, the fear of abandonment outweighs the pain of staying. We fear that if we walk away, we will have no one. We fear that no one will ever love us again. We fear that all the time, energy, and love we've invested will be wasted. And so, we choose familiarity over freedom. We choose the comfort of known pain over the uncertainty of potential peace. There's another reason, one that often runs deeper than we realize. We stay because we are used to pain. For many people, pain was woven into the fabric of love from the very beginning. Maybe you grew up in a family where affection was always mixed with criticism. Maybe love was conditional, given only when you behaved a certain way. Maybe you learned from a young age that love comes with suffering. And so, when someone hurts you now, it feels strangely familiar. It feels like home. And because it feels familiar, you convince yourself it must be love. Psychologists call this phenomenon trauma bonding, a powerful emotional attachment formed through cycles of pain and reward. Toxic people are masters of this cycle. They hurt you, withdraw, and make you feel worthless. But then, just when you're on the verge of leaving, they apologize, they show affection, they act like the person you fell in love with in the beginning. and your heart lights up again. That brief moment of love, following the pain, floods your brain with dopamine, a chemical reward that reinforces the bond. It's the same mechanism that keeps people addicted to substances, the cycle of withdrawal and relief. Over time, you stop chasing happiness and start chasing the next moment of good. We also often lie to ourselves. We whisper comforting stories that make it easier to stay. They're not that bad. I'm partly to blame. Everyone has flaws. Love is supposed to be hard. These are not truths. They are defense mechanisms. They are the brain's way of avoiding the painful reality that this relationship is no longer healthy. And when a lie is repeated long enough, we start to believe it. But beneath all these reasons, beneath the hope, the fear, the trauma, the rationalizations, lies the deepest truth of all. We stay because we have not yet learned to truly love ourselves. When we value ourselves deeply, we refuse to settle for a love that breaks us. When we understand our worth, we stop accepting crumbs and start demanding the feast we deserve. But when self-worth is fragile or underdeveloped, we cling to anyone who offers even a fragment of affection, even if it comes wrapped in cruelty. That is why the first step to breaking free from a toxic attachment is not walking away, it is turning inward. It is asking yourself, do I truly believe I deserve a gentler kind of love? Because the moment you answer yes, not just with your words, but with your whole being, everything changes. The illusion begins to shatter. The excuses lose their power. And you start to see the situation for what it really is, not what you wish it could be. If the answer is yes, you will realize that there is no reason to stay in a place where you are forced to shrink to be loved. You will understand that real love does not confuse you. It does not demand that you change who you are. It does not make you question your value. Real love helps you grow. It makes you stronger. It gives you peace. In the next part of this journey, we will explore how to heal and break free from a toxic relationship, not just by leaving, but by rebuilding your self-worth, relearning how to love yourself, and opening the door to a future where you no longer live in fear, dependency, or self-doubt. Thank you for walking this far on this journey of awareness. If these words resonate with your heart, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes, simply putting your feelings into words is the first step toward reclaiming your power. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Not just for more content, but as a promise to yourself that you are choosing healing, growth, and the kind of love that does not hurt. Breaking free from a toxic relationship is not a single act. It is not just about packing your things, walking away, and never looking back. It is a process, sometimes slow, often painful, but always transformative. And before you even think about leaving physically, the most crucial step happens inside. You must first untangle the emotional knots that have kept you bound. You must free yourself mentally before you can truly walk away. The first step is acceptance, the honest, unfiltered recognition of what's really happening. This is often the hardest part because it requires you to stop clinging to illusions. It means looking at the relationship not through the lens of potential, but reality. It means admitting that love should not feel like constant anxiety, that affection should not come with conditions, and that loyalty should never cost you your peace. Acceptance is not about blaming yourself or them. It's about finally telling yourself the truth. This is hurting me. And I deserve better. That sentence, though simple, is one of the most powerful you will ever say. The next step is setting emotional boundaries, not just with the toxic person, but with yourself. Toxic relationships often teach us to put other people's feelings above our own, to tolerate disrespect, and to equate suffering with love. Reclaiming your boundaries means learning to say no without guilt, to walk away from conversations that drain your soul, and to refuse behaviors that diminish your self-worth. It's about remembering that you are not obligated to fix, change, or heal someone else at the expense of your own well-being. You can love someone and still choose yourself. You can care deeply and still say, "This is not okay." Healing also requires reclaiming your identity, the version of you that existed before the manipulation, the doubt, and the control. Toxic relationships often distort how we see ourselves. They convince us that we are too sensitive, too needy, too much, or not enough. They make us believe that our worth is tied to someone else's approval. Reclaiming your identity means reconnecting with your values, your passions, and your inner voice. It means asking, "Who am I?" when I am not trying to please them, and then slowly rebuilding that version of yourself, the one who is whole, worthy, and complete, all on their own. Another essential step is grieving, and yes, grief will come. Even if the relationship was painful, there will be moments you miss. Even if they hurt you, there will be parts of them you still love. Grief is not a sign that you made a mistake. It is a sign that you are human. Allow yourself to mourn what you hoped the relationship would be. Cry for the love that never fully existed. Let the tears fall, not as a sign of weakness, but as a release of all the pain you've been holding inside. Only by grieving can you create space for something new, something healthier to grow. And then, perhaps the most important part of the healing process, rebuilding your self-worth. This is not something that happens overnight. It's a daily practice, a commitment to treating yourself with the same compassion you once gave so freely to others. Speak kindly to yourself. Remind yourself of your strengths. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who pull you down. Celebrate small victories. The first day you go without checking their messages, the first night you sleep peacefully, the first morning you wake up and feel free. Each of these moments is proof that you are healing, piece by piece. It is also vital to reconnect with your support system. Toxic relationships often isolate us, making us feel like we have nowhere to turn. But you are not alone. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, or a therapist who can offer guidance without judgment. Sometimes, just speaking your story aloud breaks the hold it has on you. Sometimes, hearing someone say, "You deserve more," is the spark that lights your way out of the darkness. Finally, learn to forgive, not them, but yourself. Forgive yourself for staying too long. Forgive yourself for not seeing the signs earlier. Forgive yourself for all the times you settled for less because you didn't believe you deserved more. Self-forgiveness is not about excusing the past. It's about freeing yourself from it. It's about acknowledging that you did the best you could with the knowledge and strength you had at the time, and now, with greater awareness and deeper wisdom, you are choosing differently. Healing is not linear. There will be days you feel strong and days you feel like you're slipping back. That's okay. Progress is not about never looking back. It's about choosing over and over again to keep moving forward. It's about reminding yourself, even in your weakest moments, that you are worthy of a life where love does not come with pain, where peace is not something you have to earn, and where your soul is free to grow. If you are on this path right now, know that you are already doing something courageous. Choosing to leave toxicity behind is one of the bravest acts of self-love a person can commit. It is not easy, but it is worth it, because on the other side of this pain is a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more whole than ever before. In the final part of this journey, we will explore how to build healthy, empowering relationships, how to recognize genuine love when it comes, how to set standards that protect your heart, and how to ensure you never fall back into patterns that once held you captive. Because freedom is not just the absence of what hurts you, it is the presence of what truly nurtures your soul. Thank you for staying with me through this chapter. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to reflect on one simple truth. You are not broken for having loved the wrong person. You are simply learning what real love should feel like, and now you are closer than ever to finding it. Once you've walked away from a toxic relationship, you are no longer the same person you once were. You've changed. Perhaps you still carry the scars of what happened, but those scars are proof. Proof of your resilience, your courage, and your capacity to rise. And when the dust begins to settle, a new question emerges. It's not just, how can I make sure I never get hurt like that again? But also, how do I build a love that is safe, healthy, and nourishing for my soul? The first step is to lay the foundation of love within yourself. After experiencing deep emotional wounds, many people instinctively seek someone to fill the void or prove their worth. But the truth is this: real love is never about rescue. No one can save you but you. A healthy relationship doesn't start with finding the right person. It starts with becoming the healthiest version of yourself. When you learn to love yourself, to set boundaries, to honor your worth, and to refuse anything less than what you truly deserve, you will naturally attract people who resonate with that same energy. People who come not to take from you, but to build with you. Remember, standards are not arrogance, they are self-respect. If you once accepted words that made you feel small, now you must demand respect. If you once tolerated cold silence, now you should expect honest communication. If you once gave so much of yourself that you lost who you were, now you must offer love while remaining whole. Setting standards doesn't mean building walls. It means protecting your heart from the kind of pain that once broke it. A healthy relationship doesn't mean the absence of conflict. In fact, it means that conflict is approached with maturity, empathy, and respect. In true love, you're not afraid to express how you feel, and the other person doesn't weaponize those feelings against you. You don't try to change each other. You listen, learn, and grow together. You don't drag each other down. You lift each other higher. It's not always a whirlwind of passion, but it is always a space of trust, peace, and authenticity. It's also essential to learn how to read the signs early on. Toxic people rarely reveal their true nature right away. They are often charming, magnetic, even seemingly perfect. But now you have experience, and that experience is your greatest teacher. If someone makes you constantly doubt your worth, take a step back. If you find yourself sacrificing too much just to keep the relationship, question it. If love begins to feel like a burden instead of a space for growth, listen to that signal. Your intuition isn't overreacting. It's the wisdom of your soul trying to protect you. Another powerful practice is to nurture other healthy relationships outside of romance. Deep friendships, positive family connections, and communities where you feel you belong. These all anchor your heart. They remind you that love isn't confined to one person, and they help you avoid placing all your emotional needs and expectations in a single relationship. When your heart is supported from many directions, you become less likely to tolerate something unhealthy and more capable of walking away when something isn't right. And, perhaps the most profound lesson of all, let love come as a choice, not a rescue. Enter relationships not because you need healing, but because you want to share a journey. When you no longer look for someone to complete you, love becomes deeper, freer, more peaceful. It no longer rushes, clings, or begs. It arrives as a meeting of two whole souls, and because of that, it becomes something truly lasting and transformative. If you're reading these words, it means you've likely reached the end of one of the most painful, but also most meaningful journeys of your life. The journey of learning to love yourself enough to walk away from what hurts you. And here's the truth. From the very moment you chose yourself, you opened the door to a different future. One where relationships no longer drain your energy, but amplify it. One where love no longer makes you question your worth, but strengthens it. One where you no longer wake up with fear, but with gratitude that someone is beside you, building a life of wholeness and peace. Thank you for walking this journey with me. From understanding the signs of toxicity, to uncovering why we get trapped, to learning how to break free and rebuild ourselves. If these words resonate with you, I invite you to write one thought, one affirmation, or one promise to yourself in the comments below. Not for anyone else to see, but for you, as a testament to your growth. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel, not just for more insights, but as a declaration that you are choosing self-respect, freedom, and a love that truly honors you. May the road ahead be filled with light, the kind that guides you away from what once hurt you and toward the relationships that help you grow. And always remember this: you are not just worthy of love. You are worthy of a love that is healthy, whole, and built to last.